Welcome to our second tutorial about the Unfold and Refold tools. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how they can come in handy when you're troubleshooting your sheet metal part. I'm going to fillet the corners of my sketch here. Let's apply a 5mm radius to all 4 corners. And close the fillet window. Now let's apply some dimensions. This dimension will be 20mm. And the longer side of the rectangle will be 30mm. Offset, dimension, and last dimension here will be, of course, thickness. Let's exit our sketch. And let's go to the Model tab, activate the Extrude command. We'll extrude for a distance of 25mm. Click OK. Next, I'm going to use the Rip tool. Let's start with a sketch. I'll place it on this face. Now I'll place my 2 points. And I'll dimension the points. This distance will be 6mm. This distance will also be 6mm. Click OK. And exit the sketch. Now let's activate the Rip tool. We're going to use the point-to-point rip type. Let's rip this face. Select our first point and our second point. Here's our preview. Let's double the gap size to increase the width of the rip. Click OK. Next, I'm going to add a tab here to overlap these 2 plates. Let's activate the Flange tool. We'll select this edge. The flange angle will be 0. Let's expand the dialog window and check Old Method. Now we've got a juggle and an overlapping flange. I want to show you one thing here. Right now the tab goes over this edge. I'll click OK. If we try to create a flat pattern from our part, we get an error message. Flat pattern can't be constructed. Let's cancel out of this window. And let's double-click on flange 1 to make some changes. Let's make it 4mm. Click OK. Now let's click Create Flat Pattern. And we have no problem this time. Let's undo that. Now let's try to unfold our part. First, we choose a stationary reference. It'll be this face. And this bend. And as you see, we've obviously got a problem here. Let's click OK and see what Inventor tells us. The model contains a non-manifold edge. Let's cancel out of the error message. Now let's go to our tree. I'm going to drag the end of folded feature up above flange 1. Let's apply the Unfold tool again. Select the same stationary reference and bend and click OK. Let's drag the end of folded below flange 1. Now right-click, select Refold Feature. Let's create a flat pattern. Everything seems fine now. Okay, let's undo that. As you can see, it's a good idea to check from time to time if you can create a flat pattern or not. Next thing I'm going to do here is extend this flange to this edge. Let's create a sketch. Take a normal view, project geometry, and let's create a few lines. Let's close my loop. Right-click, done. Now let's add a perpendicular constraint. This line and this line. This line, and this line. The sketch is fully defined. We can exit. Now let's use the Face tool. Here's my profile pre-selected. Be sure the offset goes in the right direction. Let's click OK. And we've got an error message, failure due to face-to-face intersection. Let's cancel out of the error message. Now let's return to the Unfold tool. We're going to select this bend. and click OK. Let me rotate the model a little bit. Let's apply the Face tool again. Be sure the offset goes in the right direction. Click OK. And let's right-click and refold the feature. Let's check it out as a flat pattern. Looks okay. Let's undo it. I'm going to create a couple more segments that'll wrap around this face. Create sketch. Normal view. Project geometry. This edge. And right-click done. Offset. Dimension it. We'll use the thickness. OK. Let's add an arc, 3-point arc, from this point to this point. Tangent to both of these lines. Right-click and done. We need one more dimension now. $10 mm. OK, let's exit the sketch. Take an isometric view. We're going to need one more sketch. On this face. Let's exit the sketch and activate the Unfold command again. Stationary. Bend. OK. Let's go to the Model tab and activate the Sweep command. This is our profile. Here's our path. There's our preview. Let's click OK. And let's refold this feature. Right-click, Refold Feature. Now let's go to the Sheet Metal tab and see if we're able to create a flat pattern. Looks good? Let's undo. Lastly here, we need to trim the top and the bottom. Unfold. Stationary reference. Bends. We'll use Add All Bends this time. And click OK. Now let's create a sketch. Activate the Rectangle tool. Something like this. And down below as well. Let's apply dimensions now. $20 distance separates the two rectangles. OK, and let's exit our sketch. Now we'll activate the Cut tool. Select both profiles. Click OK. Let's return to our feature and refold it. Right-click, Refold Feature. Take an isometric view, and let's test out the flat pattern. Click on Create Flat Pattern. So far, so good. OK, let's fold our part back up now. As you can see, the Unfold and Refold tools come in handy when you're modifying your part. Let's take a moment to save our part. I'm going to accept the default name. And before we finish, let's create the same flange, but this time I'll do it using the Flange tool. Let's get rid of all of this stuff. We'll Shift-select everything from Refold 4 to Sketch 5, and then right-click, Delete. Let's delete the associated geometry as well. We also need to delete sketches 5 and 6. Right-click, Delete. OK, let's rotate our model a bit. Remember, the radius for these fillets is 5 mm. Let me just double-check that dimension. Go to the Tools tab, Distance, and click on our edge. Yes, it was 5. Let's close the Distance tool. Back to the Sheet Metal tab, Flange tool. I'll select this edge. There's my preview. Let's make the distance 10 mm and the bend radius 5 mm. The bend position from adjacent faces. Now let's see if Inventor lets us create this flange. Let's click OK. Nope, Feature Compute failed. We need to redefine the inputs. OK, let's cancel out of the error message. Once again, let's go to the Unfold tool. My stationary reference, my bend. Click OK. Now let's use the Flange tool. Select this edge. There's my preview. We're going to leave the rest of the values as is. The flange angle was 90 degrees, the bend radius 5 millimeters, and the bend position, bend from adjacent faces. Let's click OK. And this time it works. Let's refold our part. Right-click on Unfold 5, Refold Feature. Now let's check out the flat pattern. OK, looks fine. Let's fold it back up. And let's activate the Trim tool. I'm going to trim the top and bottom edges. Unfold it again. Stationary reference. Select all bends. Click OK. OK, looks good. Let's create a sketch. We need a rectangle. We'll drop it here. And another one down below, as we did previously. Let's apply dimensions now. 20 millimeters separates the two rectangles. OK. Lastly here, I'm going to create a cut through the entire part. I want to check out how the part is going to refold. Let's exit the sketch. Activate the Cut tool. First profile, second profile, last profile. OK. Inventor computes, and we have our modified part. Now when I right-click and refold the feature, let's see what happens. I'm going to get an error message. Yes, redefine inputs. Let's cancel out of this window and figure out how to solve this problem. Basically, what's happened here is this. After I made a cut in the middle, Inventor lost the references. So to solve this, I'm going to use the Refold tool. Again, we select the stationary reference first. Then add all bends. OK. Let's zoom in a bit. Looks good. Here is our part. Now, finally, let's see how it looks as a flat pattern. Go to Flat Pattern. Zoom out a bit so I can see the whole thing. Flat pattern looks good too. And this concludes our second tutorial about the Unfold and Refold commands.